welcome along to our 90 minutes live My Life in Football stories, and we've done a few of these last season, and the first one this season. So I'm very pleased to welcome along Tom Carr from Hertford Town Women, the manager over there. Tom, good to see you, mate.
Hello, Simon. You all right?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. How have you been?
Yeah, all good, all good. Busy. Just got back from the younger training.
Excellent. Well, I mean, perfect way to start. So you say the younger training, and obviously you as the chairman and founder of Meninas, which is local girls only football team, and obviously you've been at Hertford Town Women this season, and you've amalgamated the two together.
Yes, yeah. So from next season, I think the exact date is August 1st, to be honest. But from August 1st, from the affiliation, we're going to merge the two together and hopefully we are going to create a pathway from sort of 6-7 years old right up to adult football.
Excellent. And to me, and when I saw the news, it was surprising, but I wasn't surprised to see it, because to me, knowing your history and all that, it seemed to make perfect sense.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Meninas, it's been difficult this season, sort of changing venue. The venue's for the betterment of the club, but changing venue's been difficult. And then we've had a few teething problems with them, a few of our younger teams, and trying to get players in, trying to get coaches in. So we've basically revamped the committee, and the new committee that have come in excellent. So I'm no longer chair. I'm vice chair and coach development officer. Kim, who was previously with a couple of other local clubs, she's our chair. And there's a few other bodies involved in the committee heavily. Leanne as secretary, treasurer Suzanne. Is really good group now. So it just felt like actually we had time to step back, take stock, and then realise this is probably the next best decision to make, the next step to make. And sort of a meeting with Ben Hurd at Hertford Town made it very quick and very easy to make that decision.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was one of those things that everyone benefits from it, really, don't they?
Absolutely. I think the club as a whole, Hertford Town Club, benefit. Obviously, the women's side benefits enormously, and then the girls. I used to have jokes with my older team, with the under-16s last year, about when somebody asks, "Who do you play for?" and they go, "Meninas," and they're like, "What's that?" Actually now being able to respond with Hertford Town, an actual location, an actual sort of state-of-the-art pitch, an actual base, an actual fan base, and a community club. And then sort of from a club perspective, from a Hertford perspective, we can now cater for men, women, boys, girls, inclusive section as well. It's exactly what we want in terms of building a community club.
That's it. I mean, you touched on something there briefly, and I remember when we was in our old guys, you came in, you co-hosted a show with me, and you told us the story then of how Meninas got their name. So for the benefit of those who didn't hear that, do you want to explain that quickly?
I remember that radio session, actually. I do. So it means girls in Portuguese, which is obviously the language in Brazil. So the idea was we were a girls exclusive club. We were only 4 girls. And then we're going to retain that identity. So the teams at Hertford Town will be Hertford Town and then their Brazilian city, which is what the Meninas teams have at the moment. So whether it's Hertford Town Porto or Hertford Town Rio or Hertford Town Brasilia, they're going to retain that identity there. But like I say, the benefits of joining Hertford Town as opposed to staying as a separate entity sort of outweigh the exclusiveness of being a girls section. The good thing with Hertford as well is there's no person or committee in the middle trying to pull it all together and make everybody exactly the same. It's going to be a community club, but they're going to be able to be run with their own identities and their own individualities. So that means that we can advertise as a girls section, as opposed to come and join us. And, you also have the chance of playing with the boys, which they will have the chance of playing with the boys, but it's not going to put them off young girls starting for the first time thinking that they're going to be slide tackled during the training session. That's the plan.
So with the girls, knowing the girls development league and stuff like that, I know there has been instances of teams when they've changed names or they've changed their age group or their guises. With you changing your name, have you had any contact with them at all?
With the Hearts Girls League?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've had contact with Hearts Girls League, had Hearts FA contact as well. So, like I say, the affiliation is going to be linked rather than under exactly the same banner. So, therefore, chair people and committees can stay separate to try and prioritise these sections that they need to prioritise. But yeah, we had the AGM yesterday for the Girls League. And that wasn't an issue in terms of everybody understood it was literally just a name change. Ethos is staying the same. If anything, Ethos is improving by becoming more of a community club.
Yeah, yeah, splendid, splendid. Now let's get on to the the women's side of things. So first season in for you, and a very successful one.
Yeah, very much, very much. If you told us that we'd end the season with promotion and a cup, then we would have bitten your hand off in August when we were doing our pre-season training and lots of players were turning up for their first instance of adult football. Definitely so.
And it because it was a while at the start of the season before you actually had a league game, wasn't it?
Honestly, it was like just watching other teams race ahead in the league because we had FA Cup and then we had the FA Cup. It was replayed due to an incident during the match. And then we had the next round of the FA Cup, the League Cup, and then sort of the League Shield. And yeah, I think it was sort of late September before we got started in the league, and some teams were on 9 or 12 points at that stage. So it felt bizarre.
And then at the end of the season, it was pretty much a title decider game, wasn't it? At the end with the Wormley Rovers.
Yeah, I mean, we had two in a row. So we had three teams going for the title, and all three teams deserved to go for the title, to be honest. Ourselves, Wormley, as you say, and then Harpenden. And we had Harpenden at home, followed by Wormley at home. A week or two before that, Wormley had Harpenden, sort of back-to-back fixtures. So yeah, it was exciting. And again, not winning the league is obviously that little blip, but getting the promotion is the priority. And sort of being in contention right up until that final day, sort of being 7 or 8 minutes away from something exciting, and then thinking we've blown it, but then Hartum have done us a favour against Harpenden. It was an exciting but emotional final day, definitely.
I mean, was that always the way? It was like both two teams get promoted, was it?
We believed it was two teams got promoted. I mean, in truth, all three have now been promoted because the applications and sort of the setups of Wormley and Harpenden and obviously ourselves are all very strong and all of Eastern Region quality. But you know how rumours work this time of year. You're thinking it's only two, and then you're thinking, then you're hearing, that lots of teams are going for promotion into the Eastern Region. So is there going to be space? If you come third, does that mean you're not in? And sort of already having conversations with players of that if we get promoted, it's this path. If we don't, it's this path. Are you interested in both? Are you interested in one? It's just, I mean, the best analogy I can make is it's sort of like the championship playoff. If you go up through the playoffs, everybody else has got 4 or 5 weeks transfer business on you. So it was a bit interesting. It would have been easier to be in contention right from the start or out of contention, definitely.
Yeah, I mean they have expanded the league, haven't they? And the amount of teams in the leagues, etc., etc. And I think as a whole, over the 3 or 4 years that we've been covering women's football on 90 minutes, it's great to see the growth of it.
Absolutely. I mean, you looked at it last season, the Eastern region, you saw, I think there were 10 in the south, and I think it ended 7 in the north. And you think that's not a very competitive sort of setup. And I think the Eastern Region League, as much as we're not in it yet, well, we are in it now as of next season, but it offers that professionality, and it's really trying to push, I think, that professionalism and that competitiveness across both the Premier Division and then obviously the North and South regional divisions. So yeah, to see it expand, I think was A, the right decision, and B, obviously of benefit to ourselves.
Before we get onto the league, what you're in, and the teams that you're facing, let's just go on to that cup final, Chris Renshaw Cup against Garston Ladies.
Yes, yeah. So Chris Renshaw Cup, which interestingly we won the previous year. When I say we, I mean it was under the guise of Hearts Vipers development. But I do say we because there were a fair amount of players. I think I counted 8 that played in that final, that then played in the final for Hertford Town. And to be honest, we just turned up, and I think everything that we benefited from this year, from the likes of playing Royston in the FA Cup, from playing double header against Southend in the FA Cup, to sort of county cups against Stevenage. All of that played benefit, playing our home games at the stadium. So suddenly you're turning up and you're playing at a stadium. You got the change room facilities, so on and so on. And it just didn't seem to faze our players. Whereas the Garston players, fair play to them. They've gone unbeaten in Division 2 and they've won it in their first season of adult football. But I think they were probably a little bit fazed by the surroundings and the fact that it was a cup final. Whereas, if I'm honest, our girls had gone into 3 games in a row, which were cup finals. Harpenden at home for promotion, Wormley at home for promotion. And then the final one was obviously the literal cup final. First half was probably tighter than it should have been. And then second half, we really just kicked on and showed what we were about. I mean, we were winning at half time, but the team talk at half time, I think the players were a little bit shocked. Was not negative, but it was definitely refocusing. You know, I know we're winning, but one of them's been a bit of a pot shot, and the other one, well, pot shot. I'm doing Evie a disservice there. But one of them has been a fantastic finish when she misses them all the time in training, and the other one has been sort of a longish hit upfield. And then Charlie has done what she's done all season, got onto it and made something happen. Whereas second half, really, we just kicked on, and some of the football was brilliant to watch, and it was really good actually. We had even though it was an 11 o'clock kickoff all the way in Kempston, we had quite a few of the men's team supporters coming along to watch, which was really, really enjoyable and really good for the girls.
Yeah, I mean, let's go back to that, like that half-time team talk, like you say, because often it can be the case when, yes, you might be winning the game at half-time, but you're not playing the sort of football that you are capable of playing. Was that the case?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the surface wasn't poor. It wasn't a poor surface, and you thought, I can't excuse how we're doing this, why we're moving it. And it was just a case of waiting for balls to come to you. It was a case of sort of lack of communication. It was lack of bravery in possession, and sort of just reminding the girls, look, like, I know it's not the Astro that you're used to, but you can play football in here. Like, play football. Show the people that have seen only your results this year, because obviously there were quite a few people, both from the committee, the counties, and then a few teams turning up throughout the day to collect their awards for various divisions. Show them what we've been doing all year. Concentrate on what we do, play the way we do. And then, like I say, second half, it was near enough dominance in terms of possession, in terms of sort of position as well. Really, really successful.
And you touched on the fans there. Let's talk about them, because not only for that game, but other games you've had at home as well. And I've seen some great support there. And as you say, a lot of familiar faces from those that watch them in.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It was a hilarious moment during the Wormley game, or the Harpenden one, where suddenly a few of our girls were having chants made about them, and sort of that's never happened to a lot of our players before. So it was quite funny seeing them interact with the players when really the coaching side of you is just screaming, concentrate on the game. But it was good. I mean, one of the massive assets that we've had this year is Paul Crowley's come with the men's side. 366 photography, and he does all of our pre-game graphics and all of our photos. And obviously Chris White, who you know really well, we got in contact with him after last season and sort of said, can you help us out with the videography? And he's just second to none. I mean, we asked both of them to attend our presentation recently and presented them with a shirt with a logo on it, because that was the least we could do for all of their support.
Yeah, I saw it, and like you say, I think the work that both of them do is absolutely fantastic. It really is. So let's move on to the league. So you've been placed in Eastern Region Women's Division 1 North.
Yep.
And I've got the teams here that are in that in that league. So let's go through those teams. It's Biggleswade United, Dussindale and Hellersden Rovers, Fakenham Town, Harpenden Town, Histon, Mulbarton Wanderers, Newmarket Town, St Ives Town, Stevenage Development, Wootton Blue Cross, and Yaxley Phoenix. Now, first of all, what's your thoughts on that? And then secondly, do you know a lot about many of these teams? Because I imagine there's some that you've not seen before.
Absolutely. This is where, being a co-manager with Danny Barley, this is where it comes into into payment here, because Danny's coached in the Eastern region before with Woodson Park a few years ago. They helped with Hoddesdon as well. So he's been sort of well involved. But even between us, there's a few teams there that we just know nothing about. The fact is, social media is a great thing now. It doesn't take you long to sort of follow them on Instagram and Twitter and get to grips with sort of general philosophy and general culture. But there are some really interesting teams in there as well. So Stevenage Development knocked us out of the County Cup. And there was a 10-minute spell where we had a player sin-binned and we just lost everything there in that 10-minute spell. But until then, it was really interesting. Stevenage itself will be interesting this year, actually, because obviously Stevenage players can't dual sign for the first team and the development because there's not that division boundary between them. With Histon, we played in a pre-season friendly, really competitive team, really, really good team, really strong team as well. So that's a positive. Watton Blue, Luke Malloy's coaching over there. And I've known Luke, back when we started Menina side, a meeting with Luke and Stevenage about starting it over there rather than starting our own thing. It wasn't any reason as to why we didn't. It just didn't come to fruition. But he will make a team that finished, I think, either bottom or one from bottom. He will make them a very, very competitive team. The team he used to coach, Biggleswade, obviously finished second. And there's no reason why they won't kick on. Again, Ashley, who's over there, is a very, very good coach. But like I say, the teams we haven't named, without being disrespectful, we just don't know about them yet. So the teams in Norfolk and the teams that are the lovely away trips, we don't know about them. But as I alluded to earlier with yourself just before we recorded, there might yet be some movement with the divisions. I'm not talking out of turn there. I'm just saying what the league have said to us. If there's not, there's not. There's not there. If there is, there is. But it's interesting when you sort of plot it on a Google map and think, how did we end up north? But I know Bishop Stortford, if you look at their men's setup, have got that problem this year. And I'm sure you'd rather be promoted regardless of division, wouldn't you?
That's it. I mean, sometimes you've got to, just swallow it, really, haven't you? You want to progress up the leagues and up the divisions, and as you do that, it's only natural that you're going to have to play teams further and further away.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, if you look at sort of the Premier Division, if you imagine we're in there for a moment, our journeys are pretty fair. There's some pretty long journeys there. And it's what we want as a group, current group, and it's what we want as a coaching group. And most importantly, it's what we want as a club.
Yeah. I mean, let's go on. I know you did put a tweet out about trials. So when are they starting? Is there still space for anyone that's interested to come along?
Yeah, so the trials are more of a token trial rather than sort of a cut-off trial. What we're going to do is we're going to have 3 weeks worth of sort of trials/open training. And we hope to sort of link up with our friends at Hartham for that as well, to sort of share facilities and share a bit of expertise in terms of coaching. And really, yeah, there is still space. With regard to the squad, we're probably looking for 3 players to come in and improve sort of the starting lineup. And then we're probably looking for 6 players to come in and sort of, but including those 3 to sort of boost to the squad. But we're already looking at sort of the now HERTFORD Town under 16 girls and sort of penciling a couple that might be ready to make that step up and go from there. But yeah, the trials are Tuesday. I'm getting an update in the diary now. Tuesday the 27th and Thursday the 29th. But really, that's just the start of pre-season. And then we have got training every Tuesday and Thursday from there. And we've got matches pretty much from the first weekend of July. We just got one more fixture to confirm in our pre-season schedule, and then we're going to publish that. But we've got some good games coming up in that, including sort of teams like Royston, who will hopefully bring a decent following as well.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was going to ask about. So obviously, you're waiting a little while to to let everyone know who you are and who you are facing. But you say there's one date to fill.
Yes, one date to fill. We're going to have a conversation with a couple of teams that we've currently got friendlies with, because we booked friendlies with a couple of North teams thinking that we were going to be in the South Division. So now it's a question of, we're happy to play because a game is a game, but obviously it sort of loses its competitive edge if you're playing a team that you're then going to play twice in the season as well. So yeah, we're still looking, but I know we're going to be sort of on that this weekend. Danny's going to be ringing around, and I'm going to be tweeting out to try and find a couple more opponents.
Yeah. So what about as Hertford Town as a whole? I know, obviously, the last couple of years there's been a hell of a lot of work going on there. Is there any work going on there at present, or plans for the pre-season?
With regard to sort of structure and maintenance sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't know, truth be told. I think there are meetings to be had, and I have volunteered obviously as a school teacher, I volunteered my summer holidays to paint whatever needs painting. I said, don't trust me with anything that involves drilling, but yeah, I can paint whatever needs painting. But obviously the most recent additions have been sort of the car park to the adjacent of the pitch, which has been a massive help on match days, both for the women's side and obviously for the men's side, as well as training, really. Whenever that's open at a training session, it just alleviates all pressure on the car park. But I know there are big plans. I know that because every time I see Ben, he seems to be with one contractor or another, looking around and starting to have a conversation. It's an exciting place to be, but as for exactly what's going on, I couldn't talk about that yet.
That's it. I mean, I know him, but he just doesn't stop, does he?
No. I think he takes his holiday very, very quickly, and even then he's quite quick on the phone. So yeah, he'll be back. I mean, the men's team obviously come back pre-season pretty soon, don't they?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Right, we're going to move on to a quick fire questions for you now. So this is just a little bit of fun that I do with everyone when we do these interviews.
Not my
So
forte. I love waffling. Not my forte, that mate.
oh dear, you can still waffle. It doesn't have to be a quick answer. So which team do you support?
Chelsea.
Any pets?
No.
No. Pepsi or Coke?
Oh, Pepsi.
Tea or coffee?
Neither. I don't drink either.
No, you're a teacher, Tom.
No, honestly, I get by on other substances. No, joking. No, I get by about tea or coffee.
What about post-match? What's your drink post-match?
Oh, whatever beer is available, to be honest. In the bar at Hertford, whatever beer is on tap, whatever beer is available, just one cold beer straight after the game in the sun.
Sounds good. Ronaldo or Messi?
Messi.
Okay. Who was your favourite player growing up?
Zola.
Who is the coach or manager that you aspire to and look up to the most?
It was Vialli growing up. It was always Vialli growing up. I mean, now it can't not be Guardiola, but I will throw Emma Hayes in there as well and just say what she does for the women's side is insane.
Yeah, fantastic shout. What about a pre-match routine for you?
Pre-match routine for me, it's more with timings than anything. So I just add half an hour and everything I'm asking the players to do. So if it's a 1 o'clock meet, it's 12:30 for me. And then sort of what I really enjoy about the adults game is you're not the be all and end all as the coach. So they arrive at 1, but you just don't need to see them sort of till 15:15, 20:00. I'll have a walk around. I'll say hello to, obviously, a lot of our players still have their parents turning up. I'll say hello to a lot of the parents. Generally, the pre-match routine starts 2 nights before when I'll text Danny and Tyler, our other coach, and I'll text those two sort of the initial thoughts with the starting lineup and then sort of just set out the routine. And normally there's 2 or 3 positions that you're looking at. So you might have decided the whole team and then which right winger we'll be going with. So you're just looking at them in warm-up and thinking what we're doing from there. But no, nothing too specific pre-match. Awful music, obviously, but other than that, no.
What about your earliest football memory?
Earliest football memory. Oh, God. Chelsea beat United 4-0 on one of my birthdays once, and I was at the bowling alley watching it, and it was very, very good. But like the biggest memory that sticks out is Zola's back heel flick against Norwich from the corner. That's right. The biggest one that sticks out, but that's not earliest. So yeah, that, or I don't know, Euro 96, a bit of that. France 98, a lot of. Yeah.
God, you make me feel old.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Sorry.
Who is your best friend in football?
Oh, best friend in football.
Don't offend anyone now.
Oh, I don't know, No, I mean Danny's up there. Obviously, my co-manager, he's got to be up there. I think the two Marks who I've coached with for years, and one of them is the goalkeeping coach still, and the other one runs the line every game. I think they're up there. And then I've got some lads who I coached with when they were younger. So they both did their work experience with me when they're 15, and now they're sort of 21, 22. There's Jake Locker, who's now at Loughborough, coaching at a very high standard. And then James Manlove, who you might know from when he played for Ware for a few bits. So, yeah, a spattering, really. Yeah.
Include everyone. That's the best idea.
Yeah. I missed you out, Simon, but otherwise everyone else was
That's all right.
sorry,
I'll
mate.
forgive you. I'll forgive you. Any other sports you play at all?
No, not anymore.
No. Any other sports you take an interest in?
Anything on TV, to be honest. But it has to be specific. So the rugby, if it's Six Nations, the athletics, if it's Olympics or World Championships, but otherwise, no.
So I mean, let's go back to Hertford. So obviously, only been running for 1 year. Already, like we said before, in the Eastern Region, Division 1 North, we're at for now. What are the, do you have like a 2, 3, 5 year plan at all?
Yeah,
I'm sure you do.
absolutely. We're hoping over the next couple of weeks that we can announce a partnership that we're going to have with another club in the Beds and Hearts League. And the idea there is sort of we can A, benefit from each other, and B, sort of set up, it won't be a reserves team, of course it won't, they're a team in their own right, but it's an opportunity really for those Hertford Town girls when they hit 16 to play adults football straight away. Whereas the idea with the Hertford Town women's team is hopefully will be Eastern Region Prem within the next 2 or 3 years. And that's quite a jump at 16 years old to go in and make that jump. It is possible, of course it is. But that's the plan there. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we're going to go Championship and WSL. I mean,
No,
it would be incredible, and it has been spoken about in terms of within the coaches. It would be incredible to sort of be nationals within the next 5-6 years, and I think that is a realistic aim with what we're building at Hertford as the women's side, but also what we're building at Hertford as a community club. But that does depend on cohort. I know for a fact a lot of our players are sort of second year, sixth form next year. So whether that means universities coming up in the cards and so on and so on. I mean, we do need to add a couple more experienced players to our squad. That has sort of shown itself a couple of times this year. But also with the naivety and the age just comes bravery. So it has been brilliant to see that group sort of just be brave with it. But those are sort of medium to long-term plans for the setup.
That's it. I mean, you touched on, some of those, girls, men, possibly going off to university and things like that. Does the travelling plans and, the fact that you're playing on a Sunday, does that hinder you, or does it, make the girls a little bit more available?
It's interesting, to be honest, because obviously sort of the girls' football, as you know, the girls' league is Saturdays all the way through. And then obviously with the boys, it starts going to Sundays, but with the girls, it stays Saturdays all the way through. So it's a benefit in terms of you can sign a lot of players who are playing Saturdays and Sundays. So we had a few last year doing that. Some of them you're like, please don't get injured. Whereas others, it's good because they're getting minutes that they maybe not getting on the second one, they're getting on the first one. And again, sort of going forwards, it's something that we want to explore. It's also helpful from a former Meninas and now Hertford Town girls point of view, where those 16, 17-year-olds are still going to be playing Saturday football, and then they can get extra minutes, supplementary minutes on a Sunday. So I don't know if it's a benefit or a hindrance, but it's neither, if I'm honest. It's just something that we go along with.
That's it. And does it excite? And I know you coach a couple of the younger girls teams as well. For those sort of like, coming up, maybe like, 14, 15, under 14s, 15, 16s, does the fact that, they've got that possible opportunity of playing for Hertford Town women in, a couple of years' time or whatever, does that excite them?
I think so. There's been a lot of positive feedback when the move was announced. And I think sort of from a girl's point of view, with plans potentially to get involved with the JPL and things like that, I think we're going to build a structure there that people are going to be proud of, if they're not already, obviously. And sort of from an individual basis, conversations with coaches. I mean, where it's helpful, the oldest age group with the girls section is actually run by Danny, our women's co-manager, and Tyler, our women's coach. And then sort of the second and third oldest age groups, they either coach or I'm involved with. So it's sort of like we're already sort of looking at that. And I think without being too serious, you have to hold yourself seriously. But I think we're coming up with a philosophy of how we play. And that's going to really benefit players as soon as they drop into a team and they know we're brave in these angles, we're creative in these phases, and so on and so on. I think that's going to benefit definitely.
And with this link up with the team from the Beds and Hearts League, I'm guessing because obviously you can have players dual registered, so that's going to, like you say, benefit both sides there as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not sure how close we are to confirming that. I think we're only a couple of weeks away, if that. But again, it's a club that have similar morals, similar culture, similar standards, and it really is that dual registration that's a benefit to both of us. There's some players playing for their team that may wish to try the Eastern region. There's some players for our team that maybe won't get minutes in the first couple of weeks. You never know. And they might turn around and say they want to do that. But like I say, these 16-year-olds that maybe aren't ready for that initial jump, making the jump to Beds and Hearts and then moving up would be potentially more productive.
That's it. And it's something, for them, like you say, if they're not getting minutes for your first team, you want to keep them fresh as well, don't you?
Absolutely. I mean, it's difficult because the rule is that you can only play a certain amount of games and then you've got to wait 28 days and so on and so on. And also, like, you want to keep the competitions and the teams in their own right. You don't want to be trying to bend the rules to benefit one or the other. There's no way that the two are merging in terms of Hertford and Hertford reserves. That's not the mindset of anybody involved. But I think that is the plan, just making sure people are happy and people are playing.
Yeah, so well, I mean, I'll look out for that news, and be exciting to see that. Obviously, I'll look out for your pre-season fixtures and that as well. And then, what about the league? You said they had the league AGM. When do those fixtures come out? Obviously, like you say, they might rejig things, but when do they release those fixtures?
So the league AGM is next Thursday. I've got a long drive up to Newmarket next Thursday. So next Thursday is the AGM, and then I think we'll find out more from there. I mean, to be honest, we're still at the stage where at that AGM we get to stand up and introduce ourselves. So I'm not sure we're at the stage where we could be emailing saying when can we find out fixtures. But normally the penultimate weekend in August is either when it starts or when the FA Cup starts. So that's what we're targeting. We're targeting 5 pre-season games with the 20, whatever it is, 20 round the 20th as that date of FA Cup / Eastern Region starting.
Excellent. Well, obviously exciting times ahead for you and the club, and I'm sure I'll see you sometime soon. I didn't manage to get to a game last season, although I kept saying I would. Whenever I did have a Sunday off of work, you was playing at the back end of nowhere, and I was unable to get there. So hopefully this season I will be able to get down to watch a game. And
absolutely,
can't wait, mate.
We'll try and get you pre-season, if not, mate, because it's always a bit calmer pre-season. But you're always welcome, of course you are.
Yeah, definitely. I shall look forward to it. Well, Tom, all the best for the season. Hope it all goes well, and I'll as always I'll be keeping an eye out for your results.
Really appreciate your time, Simon. Good catching up.
Lovely. Cheers, buddy.
See you, mate. Take care.